This afternoon, the National Security Council met in Belmopan to address the issue. Prime Minister Dean Barrow met with National Security Minister John Saldiva, Lawrence Sylvester, the CEO in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, retired Lieutenant Colonel George Lovell, the CEO in the Ministry of National Security, Brigadier General David Jones, Commander of the Belize Defense Force, and Coast Guard Commandant John Borland. Following that meeting, Commander of the Belize Defense Force, Brigadier General David Jones, gave further details of Saturday's events.
They are not aware of our complete schedule of how we go through this Sarstoon. So they were expressing their dissatisfaction that they didn't know. Our troops have never gone in there and asked permission to go through, and we continue to go through the Sarstoon without asking permission. The vessel that was there speaking to the troops did not want to leave the area. They stayed in the area, and they were given the impression that they were going to remain there, expressing that we are not going to be allowed to go back up through the river if we don't ask permission. So the troops at the area took it as some form of intimidation, and they started making phone calls that eventually reached my ears. I in turn informed our CEO that also informed our minister, and then the message also reached our prime minister. I subsequently spoke to my Guatemalan counterpart and expressed the concern with the situation currently happening at the Sarstoon, because I just had a meeting with him on Thursday in San Antonio, and we both came to an understanding and agreement that we're going to cooperate with each other and to ensure that there's going to be peace in the Sarstoon area. So he's committed to that. I'm committed to that. So we're going to work through a roadmap now to ensure that happens. So when I called him, he said, General, we just came back from his meeting because we returned back Friday evening, and then this incident actually happened on Saturday. So he said he's going to pass the direction that there isn't going to be any more interception, and we're going to work towards peace in the area. So immediately after I called him, it was within 5 or 10 minutes, the vessel that was in front of the BDFFOB had disappeared and left. So it was a sign of good faith that the meeting that I had with him is working and is going to work. So I'm going to bet on the relationship that we've just established that we should move towards a more peaceful resolution as to what's happening in the Sarstoon.
So the press release spoke about hostility on the part of the Guatemala Armed Forces. Mm-hmm. Can you clarify the level of hostility? Were the lives of our soldiers threatened?
Well, I would say the lives were threatened at the time. The soldiers view it as a sort of intimidation because they've never gone in front of our base like that before. This is the first time, and the soldiers that were there was trying to reason with the gentleman and said that we're both professionals. Let us work together peacefully to resolve this issue. And the guy decided just to stay around. That was different. So they viewed it as some form of intimidation.
Prime Minister Barrow spoke on what he described as a strongly worded protest note sent to the Guatemalan government. He said that in their response, the Guatemalan government refuted our version of Saturday's occurrence.
A couple of significant things about the Guatemalan response. They deny that they behaved in an extremely hostile and threatening manner. They said they confronted a Belizean vessel, which the way it is framed is not factual, and they complained about the failure on our side to follow the security protocol usually followed in the Sarstoon River, and in brackets they describe that as the status quo. They say at no time was there any provocation by the Guatemalan authorities towards the crew of the Belizean vessel. What was asked was that they follow the security protocol usually followed in the Sarstoon River. And again, they say status quo. I think that's important because you will note, and the Guatemalans are very clear in saying what they want to say. In their response, in the end, they insist that they are sovereign over the entirety of the Sarstoon. And I mentioned that to underline my point. You notice that there is no suggestion that what they describe as the security protocol involves any traditional request for permission on the part of the Belizean security forces to go up the Sarstoon. I mention this because it is my understanding that in some quarters it is being claimed that what this incident has done is to expose the fact that we were not being entirely truthful with the Belizean people insofar as that before now, when our military goes upriver, they ask permission first. I want to repeat, that has not been the case, has never been the case, and not even the Guatemalans are suggesting that that was ever the case. So, as our people try to come to grips with what is an extremely critical issue of national importance, as they try to come to grips with the way we have to ensure that we maintain Belizean sovereignty while trying to minimize any possible danger to our troops and loss of life, that we not get it wrong and seize on false claims to inflame a situation.
In the protest note, the government of Belize maintained its position over Sarstoon River and the Sarstoon Island.